Welcome back, everyone, to the Seven Figure Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Longmore, and today we are speaking with the one and only Kelly O'Neill of kellyo'neill.com. She is one of the most sought after international brand positioning and platform development strategists for technology startups, professional service firms, medical and dental practices, entrepreneurial small businesses, and other service professionals across multiple industries. She helps them reposition themselves as linchpins in the market, launch innovative brands, and market disrupting platforms. And also she helps them strategically scale their business from 6 to 7 to 8 figures in the process, even 9-figure companies. So she uses a unique marketing strategy based on well, I guess we'll get into it a little bit more, Kelly, but you are the founder of the multi-million-dollar brand, which includes innovative profit consulting, innovative brand agency, the Up-Level community, and various other business ventures. And in 2022, she launched the Epic movement, which we're going to hear all about today, which serves the unique needs of market disrupting women entrepreneurs who are changing the conversations in their industry. She is the host of the Epic podcast and is regularly sought out for her specialized expertise and unique perspectives about entrepreneurship. She is a contributing author for Forbes and Entrepreneur magazines and has also been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Fortune, NBC, and ABC, among other prestigious media outlets. And when she is not sharing the stage with industry legends like Tim Ferriss and Jack Canfield, Tony Hsieh, Lisa Nichols, and many, many others, you can find her with her Tibetan Terriers, London, Addison, and Remington in Las Vegas. When she is not shaking up the industry, she can be boating. You'll find her boating in the lake or practicing her forehand on the tennis court. Kelly,
yes.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me here. And also just FYI, like I put my yoga pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else. I'm wearing yoga pants underneath here on the bottom right now.
You're wearing your unicorn onesie and then you just put a black shirt on over top. Yeah, just kidding. Well, I'm glad that we get to do this. You know, as I'm reading your bio, we have a similar way in which we move through the world, which is we build our expert authority to kind of pre-sell people on us. And once people are sold on us, then there's far less heavy lifting in the sales process once people come and knock on our doors, right? I'm just aware of that because of just, it's clear that you recognized early on that positioning was going to be a big part of making life a lot easier for you.
Yes.
And being able to create this big company. I'm kind of making assumptions, plus I know you, so I kind of know this. But then it occurs to me, I'm like, oh, I hope people don't think that this is the only way to get to 7 figures, that I have to have books and I have to be on these stages and I have to whatever. That just happened to be your path. But what happened for you in business where you realized, oh, if I just actually take care of the authority positioning, that's going to do a big chunk of the heavy lifting for me?
So that's such a great question. So the thing is like, you know, if you back up to my background, and I actually have this whole diagram. If you guys go to my website, you can actually see my whole evolution from where I literally started my very first internship when I was 19 years old. I started an internship in a brand marketing company, and the brand marketing company that it was an agency. It was a prominent Silicon Valley agency, and it was run by a family friend. And I was actually studying advertising in college. And what was interesting was he said, you know, come do an internship with me. I want to get, you know, like, let's get you started. I'd always been a go-getter. Like, I mean, that's just how I roll, right? Like, I think I came out of the womb being like, where's my photo shoot? Where's the state? Like, I just think I was like born that way. Right. And so he had said to me when I was in college, like, let's get you kickstarted early, come do an internship. He's like, but I'm going to put you in the PR department. And I actually balked at it. And I was like, no, I'm in advertising. Like, I want to be doing advertising. He's like, I promise you, you are a PR person through and through. He's like, just come do it. He goes, and if you get through this internship and you don't like it, he's like, I will pay you double and let you do your advertising internship. And I was like, okay. So I did, and I never went back. Right. So that kickstarted my career in public relations. And a huge part of public relations is positioning. This happens to be one of my divine gifts, It's just something, I am by nature, by design. I actually just, Jen, I was going to I'll share with you after, but I just got my updated human design reading done, or a new human design reading done. I am a strategist. I am a strategist through and through. Like that is how I roll. Like even the way I picked my career, I was very clear. I was like, I wanted something creative. I wanted something that was business oriented. I wanted something that allowed me to harness my ability to write and all of these other things. Like I very strategically chose my career path, and I just aligned to it right away. So that's what I did, right? Like my whole background in agencies, in corporate America, was helping to position people and helping them to build this authority through the media, through positioning, through speaking, through all of the ways we did it back then before social media, right? Like all of those ways. And so when I got into my own career, that's just naturally what I did, because that's what I did. Right. That was my jam. Like I knew how to do that. And that's how I aligned with that way. But you're absolutely right. Like not only does not everybody need to do that, not everybody should do that. And also I will tell you, the market, when I started my company in 2001, the market was insanely different than it is nowadays. Like the landscape is insanely different. It is not the same thing. So building that authority brand back in that generation, many, many moons ago, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, was a very different ballgame than it is now. So that to me, it wasn't like it was I know I need to do this and to do, it's just what I did. Because that's what I knew how to do.
I was thinking that as you were talking, it really is. And I don't know about you, but I feel kind of lucky that I grew a business before social media, because it gave me timeless business practices that regardless of the newest and greatest shiny object, my business has longevity and sustainability because I'm not beholden. There's a lot of people that misidentify social media as a business. I know you can have a business around it, but I'm saying like they really just view it as this is their sales machine. And yet Instagram goes down, Facebook goes down, they panic. And it's like, well, yeah, if you literally are not capturing emails and bringing people to your storefront, like what's happening?
This is my business. Like my relationships. It's my relationship capital. That's my.
See, and that's what you're a genius at a lot of things. When you were talking about strategy, I started smiling in my head because I was thinking, yeah, I could give you, I just always see your brain working, and I know it's just so automatic for you to go into strategy mode. We could be talking about a very, simple life thing like, hey, I'm thinking about going for a walk. I'm not sure if I should go, in the morning or at night. And I can already see your brain spinning like, okay, well, let's weigh it out. And if we go this, this is probably the best route or whatever. But I was also thinking too, like, one of your other amazing gifts is I could come to you and say, hey, Kelly, I've got this lemon. Seems kind of obvious that I should create a lemonade stand, right? That would be fun. And your brain is instantly going to go, or
right.
You could do what everyone else is doing and build a lemonade stand, or let's look at all these other options.
Yes. That is one of the ways that I'm wired. So and this is the positioning piece too, right? This is why I'm so good at positioning. Well, I think I'm so good at positioning because I was factory downloaded with that gift, right? And I really am an innovator. I am a disruptor. Like when everybody else goes right, I go left. Like I don't want to be doing everything that everyone else is doing. I want to be looking for the innovation in the market. How do as a strategist, I solve problems. I solve problems. That's what I do. I just solve problems. I solve problems that keep people from getting the awareness that they need, or the visibility that they desire, or the clients that they want, or really ultimately getting the lifestyle that they want. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about our businesses. This is about, for me, it's not about our businesses. Like my life is not about my business. My business is an expression of my purpose in a way that allows me to live the life that I want to live. Right. I don't live to work. That's not my jam. And so I think that like with the positioning and the strategy and all of that, it is very natural for me to look at it and see like, okay, well, this is whatever, like, have you ever seen like The Beautiful Mind where like he, like the thing comes up or those movies where like the thing comes up and they're just like, and they start like moving pieces of the puzzle around until it fits. Like, that's just how my brain works. And what I'm always sorting for is what is the thing that is super unique to that person, and what is the market problem that hasn't been solved yet, and how can we innovatively solve that problem and position you as the one and only. And, I know that you saw that I had posted something online the other day where I essentially said, like, when you are properly positioned, there is no such thing as competition. Because you're the only person doing the thing that you're doing it in the way that you're doing it, because you're doing it in alignment with who you really are. And you become a party of one. That's it. Like, if people want this solution in the way that only Jen can provide it, there you go to Jen.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because some people do really well with low ticket offers. And to me, I have mad respect for people that do that. But it's just not my thing. I go too deep with people. I can't, I mean, I guess I could, but it just seems like a lot of work, and it's a numbers game, as you know, if you're going to be selling, $100,000 a month worth of $297 digital products, like your list size of that, like your full-time job is list building, right? There's no other way around it, or paying a ton in ads to get totally. People coming in. But I do have mad respect for people that have mastered that. I really do. I admire it because it's so out of my wheelhouse. It's not my language, but I'm like, top of the hat to you. Well done. Right. Yeah. And then in our world, like all things being equal, I guess my point is, for the low ticket things, right? It doesn't really matter in a lot of ways who the person is that's creating the information. People are like, well, you're going to teach me how to do this plugin on my website. Sure. I'll buy your course. Like, they're less interested in who's doing it in a lot of ways. Whereas for people like us, when we're getting intimate with people's lives and businesses, we do have to position ourselves. We do have to be clear on why us, like, what is our methodology and how is it different than what's out there? Yes. And why is my secret sauce the juju essentially that you need for, whatever it is you're wanting to create. And that's what you bring out in people. Now, I was amazed because you've been posting, and some of your clients have been posting pictures online of you doing photo shoots with them. And I know that branding and marketing and positioning is a lot more than that. But there is a special type of person that's actually willing to get in the weeds with their clients and go to a photo shoot with them and structure it all and make sure it's done. Like, there's very few people doing that actually, where the whole strategy, right, is baked into the aesthetics of, okay, well, what are you going to wear, and how are we positioning this person, and how do we want this to look, right? And just being there with them as a part of the whole package of, here's what we're putting out into the world, right, and here's why we're doing it. So, I mean, you're right. Like, you do, I know you personally, so I'm a little biased, of course, but I will say, just even objectively looking in, like, you really live and breathe what you're doing, right? It's just your thing. It's not like it shuts off because, the clock has struck 2 and you're done for the day.
No. And with branding too, like, it's so much about creating integrity of the story and the alignment, because that's what branding is supposed to do, right? Branding is supposed to be able to it's supposed to be able to communicate a multi-sensory, multi-level experience for your ideal prospect. It's not about creating a pretty website. It is every single choice that comes together. Like, every single piece of a brand is like it's like an instrument in a symphony. And if one piece is off, the piece isn't going to sound right. And so, for example, me being on that photo shoot, as an example, was about me making sure that we got the shots that were in alignment. We're telling the story. And it was less so even about creating pretty pictures. It was more about making sure that energy is coming through. So I actually will say to myself, I'm like one of the most expensive squeaky toys in the market, because the whole time I'm having her, I know the pictures you saw, I'm having her close her eyes. I'm having her visualize working with her ideal clients. I'm having her get into that felt sense. And so when she, and I'll have them close their eyes and go internal, so that when they open their eyes and they look into the camera, we're not capturing a pretty face. We're capturing the energy of the moment between, like I have chills right now, between the client and the provider. And I think that that's one of the things that in building my company, I'd been told, which I think personally is a huge crock of shit. And one of the bad pieces of advice that I see people get all the time, they're like, well, you need to leverage. And not that I think there's anything wrong with leverage. I think leverage is great. But at a certain point, it's like, are you leveraging your magic out of what you do? And are you willing to go, and it depends, right? Like, it's not for everybody. Like, not everybody should model their business the way that you've done it or I've done it. Like, that works for me, but it was really intentional for me because I want to be on the ground and have my hands in the mix with my clientele. That's the type of business that I chose to run. And that required me to leave some of the advice that I got at the door, because everyone told me, like, this is a terrible way to build a business. Like, you're putting too much time in, you're putting too much energy in, like, you need to get yourself out of the picture. And I'm like, but do I? Like, what if that's actually one of the things, like you said, what if that's one of my differentiators? Is that you will never have this experience with another branding agent. But that's also why I'm able to charge $75,000 to brand a thought leader. Because I do this level of detail.
And I mean, I know people who sell just the photo shoot, just the branded photo shoot, and that usually goes for 35 to 40K.
Really? That's not my experience, but that's interesting. And I work with like a lot of really like high-end celebrity photographers. Man, maybe I should do that, because my clients get amazing pictures.
No, I'm dead serious. Okay, everyone, you are witnessing Jennifer and Kelly masterminding on Kelly's new offering.
I'm like, wow. Perhaps I should do that. In fact, that's really actually funny.
No, honestly, I don't want to should on you. And I'm going to use the word should because I can't think of a better word right now. Like, honestly, there's such a huge demand for that. And having a branded photo shoot is very different than just going for a headshot, right? When you are... I used to coach someone that did branded photo shoots. Now, I'm sure people can charge way more for it too, but just for there'll be a little bit leading up to the day up, right? But that person, I'll tell you, doesn't go they don't go for clothes shopping with that person. They'll create a lookbook for them and say, here's some clothes, like a few months in advance, and say, here's some clothes, go and buy what makes sense.
That's what I did.
And then they bring a hair and makeup person the day of, and they pick the location. And but I see for you, for 75K, you're doing like all kinds of other things beyond.
Yeah, I'm doing all kinds of other things. But actually, here's what's interesting. So now, just having my human design reading, this is the second occurrence that this has come up. Actually, no, it's the third, because I actually had I was like, oh, I wonder if I should actually just offer my services as a as a package, as a one day to do a photo shoot here in Vegas. And then I was like, and then I ran it by that client that you saw, and she's like, oh, you should totally do it. And then you just did it, and you said, that's my 3-time convincer.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Here it is. Yeah, this is how offers are born.
This is how offers get made.
And Kelly goes right. Yeah.
There you go. I love it.
Well, and it's, it's for a certain type of person, right? That really understands the value of it. Because we all know when we land on someone's site and you're like, holy crap, who did their pictures? Like, oh my goodness, this whole presentation is stellar. You can't help but think that they're $1 million, well, or more, right? Obviously, just based on the physical aesthetics. And it's not that it's that, but that does allow people to lean in and stay long enough to be like, oh, what else is on this website, right? Or what else is on this social media page? Or, oh, I'm going to perk my ears up when this person posts a branded picture of themselves. and they put some copy in there, I'm not going to scroll, I'm going to stop and look. And it sounds like a simple thing. Obviously there's more to it than that, but
it really is. Honestly, it comes down to the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that even the experience of doing something like that, it's really about helping the client get in the spirit of the energy, because it's a whole experience for them as well. The shopping, the makeup, the prep, the location scouting, the posing, the all of it, and like getting them into it. It really, it's a whole thing, to the point. And that specific client had said to me, I feel like all my little girl dreams just came true. And I was like, oh, that's such an interesting way to put this. Like, because this is so normal. I've been doing this for, 25 years. So it seems normal to me, but it really is about that, capturing that energy in all the things you do in your business, whether it's your photo shoot or whether it's your marketing piece. It's like, and I think that's one of the areas that is really harming businesses nowadays, is there's so much of a focus on hustle and grind and just cranking crap out, that we've really lost the intentionality of it. And when we slow down and we're able to be more intentional with what it is that we're doing, and we're able to really craft our messages or put those thought-provoking posts out, where it's like, you don't need to do a ton of things. You don't need, in fact, you shouldn't. Like, do the things that are going to move the needle in your business.
Yeah, when you were holding up your phone earlier saying this is my business, for those of you that didn't see that, Kelly was holding up her phone just referring to relationship. And last week was my CEO week. So it's my opportunity to really have space with my business and, ask it, so to speak, the hard-hitting Barbara Walters questions, like, how do you feel about it? No, I'm just kidding. But, I spend time looking at it, and I just looked at some metrics and like what words seem to be, when we use certain words, which ones seem to be converting differently than others. Like, it's simple stuff, right? But then I looked at who are the non-ideal clients that have come in over the last few years, and what was the key part of that. And that was always me not listening to my intuition and trying to see through rose-colored glasses. And that's not a red flag, that's an orange flag. Kelly's smiling because we all do it. It doesn't matter how intuitive you are. You'll be like, but if I just give them a chance, if they just step into this container, they'll shift and they'll no longer be acting like a crazy person. And then all, whatever the thing is. But so I identified some cool patterns, actually, which it's going to turn into a training, which I think is really cool.
Good.
But then I looked at my ideal clients, and I have clients that have been with me for almost 2 decades. And like, what is it about, like, where did they come from? They came from me speaking on stages, whether it be a podcast, summit, in-person stage, and they came from referrals, either strategic partnerships or clients. That's it. They literally didn't come from any other channels. So you are the queen of relationship building. You're the queen of connection. You and I both have a very strong connector archetype. We just can't help it. But I will say that relationship currency is really, in my opinion, and I'm guessing yours as well, paramount to be building, right? Because it's, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I'll let you give your 2 cents.
If someone dumped me, let's just say someone took away my entire business right now, my email list, all the things, and dump me back in, like, broke into the middle of nowhere. As long as I had my phone, I'm going to be able to build a 7-figure business real quick.
Who's the first person you would call, and what would you ask them?
Oh, that's such a great question.
I know. Just kidding. Well, because I'm trying to think of what everyone listening is going to be like, okay, well, what would you do? What would be the first thing you would do?
Yeah. I would call another one of my connectors. Like, there's like 3 people that came to mind. Like, immediately. One of my clients that I've had for about a decade, she's a celebrity. She's been all over HGTV, and she ended up becoming a very, very good friend of mine through business. She's very well known in the interior design space and extremely well connected. And she would be one of my first calls. I have another gentleman that I've known for 15 years in the industry, knows everybody Everybody, like billionaires, royalty, all of, like that I would call the connectors. I'd connect with the connectors. Those would be
That's
my
super
first
smart.
calls.
Okay. Okay, everyone listening, I hope you're really taking this in. Like, this is gold, and it might sound simple, but if you're going to be building relationships, like build relationships with everyone, of course, but really pay extra attention to the connectors in your life, because they love connecting. They can't help but want to do it. It brings them joy. And I just think that's super smart advice. Yeah. And proof, because you would just call them and be like, hey, oh my God, can you post on social media and ask everyone to send me a friend request? Like, let's say you had your social media account deleted. Hey, everyone, go like Kelly's page. Her page got deleted and she needs some love. She's starting over.
Yep.
And by the end of the day, you'd have like 2,000 friend requests, if not more.
Totally.
Right. On
And part of
Facebook,
that
Instagram,
too,
whatever.
it's not just about connecting with the connectors, it's the way that I have interacted with them.
Yeah.
And you and I also, just because of the way that we do business together, I've seen this as well, in that I am constantly depositing in the relationship currency bank.
Yes.
That is, so my ultimate, and it's not a ploy to get something in return, it's how I roll. I am always looking for ways to connect people. I'm always looking for ways to support people. I'm like, what do you need? What's going on for you? How can I support you? And I have put so much relationship currency in the bank, and I don't go out all the time asking for stuff all the time. That when I do ask, people are like, absolutely, how can I help you? Right? It's like, of course, what can I do for you? And it's not even, you guys, it's not even always about business. Like, as an example, one of the guys that I was actually thinking, his name's Larry Benet.
Hi, Larry. Larry's getting
Larry?
a shout out. No, I'm just meaning like we're giving him a shout
everybody
out.
knows Larry. In fact, I got to introduce you to Larry. I'll introduce you to Larry. Larry knows everybody. And so, when Larry came to Vegas, he's like, hey, and I called him. And so he's been traveling in and out of Vegas a ton. He, again, like I said, millionaires, billionaires, celebrities, corporate CEO, whoever you need, he knows a guy. Right. And he can one click. That's all he does is build relationships. And so when Larry came to town and he's like, it's been a while, we should connect. And I was like, absolutely. And I thought to myself, this guy's always on the road. Like, he doesn't even have a house anymore. Like, that's how much he travels to go to in-person events, which, by the way, is another huge one. It's get out and meet, like, it's great to meet people online, also get out and meet people in person. So Larry is always on the road. And I thought to myself, what would be really great is, I wonder if he would really love it if he had like a home experience. And so when he came out last time, I was like, you know what, when you're in town, and just because of his schedule, we ended up going out to dinner. But I said, you know what, when you're in town next time, just come over and hang out. Like, we'll do a movie day on Sunday. We can barbecue. We can hit the pool. Come do your laundry, and I'm like, and if you need anything in town, like, always let me know. And he's like, I actually do. I need a dentist. And he's like, and every time I go someplace, I can't get in. I'm like, I know my dentist, I've got my dentist in my phone, and I've befriended her. And so I just texted her and I was like, Sherry, hey, I've got this friend traveling in. He can't get into the dentist. Can you get him in? I got him into my dentist. Right. It's those things that are like, it's not just about the business. It's like, how can you improve the quality of someone's life? Like, how can you actually give them whatever it is that they need in the moment? And it was not hard. It was not hard. It took me 5 minutes to get into my dentist, or, and he was so appreciative. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, yes, that would be great. Like, I'm so sick of eating hotel food. And I'm like, I got you anytime, just come over. That's what then, then when I do need something and I call him and I'm like, hey, can you help me? He's like, girl, I got you, whatever you need.
Yeah. And it occurs to me as you're saying that people can act like a giver, but actually really come at it from a taker energy, right? They're only giving because they want something. And then there's the true go-giver, which is you, where you're aware that things are likely going to come back to you, right? Like there'll be the law of reciprocity in action, but you don't do it because you're assuming and expecting that something is going to come in return.
No, I'm treating people the way that I would want to be treated. And I'm thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
like, if I was in his shoes and I was traveling all the time, like, what would be meaningful for me?
Mm-hmm.
That would be meaningful for me. And apparently it was for him too.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
you know what?
Larry, if you're
Here's
listening, we need to get you a home.
yeah.
I'm
He's really
kidding. I'm
happy
just
though.
like,
Like,
no, I get it. I'm just like, oh my
he's really
God,
happy.
like
It's his
I'm a
jam.
hermit. That would exhaust
Same.
me
So am I.
to,
It sounds horrible to me, which is why I was like, do you want, let me shelter you. Come to my home. Let me shelter you
I
and give you real
admire
food.
it. My alter ego wants to be that person. So Larry, mad respect to you.
I mean,
But the
really.
the human design hermit in me is just like, what? I'm not going to have a hermit's cave to go to.
Are you a 5'2"?
I'm a 6'2".
Okay, I'm a 5'2".
Yeah. So five is innovation. Is that right?
I have to go back and look. I'm not as viced in this as you. I just had my reading yesterday morning.
Yeah.
So I have to go look.
Cool. Well, you're a generator though, right?
I'm a generator.
Yeah, I'm a generator as well. The 6 for me is all about integrity, being the role model. Whether I want to be a role model or not, people are going to see that in me. And then the 2, as you know, is just naturally gifted, so to speak. I mean, we all are, but that's kind of the thing. That's what shines for people. They're just like, ooh, there's something special about that person.
Yeah.
They seem to be talented. And then of course the hermit, right? And what's interesting though, I just found out from my human design person is that when you're starting to enter your Chiron return, your human design changes.
I don't even know what that is. So I need some education on that.
Well, you and I are a few years from that, but we start feeling it a few years before and a few years after. So mine is shifting to be like a 2-4 manifesting generator almost, which means that 4 being the opportunist, right? I'm going to be opening a lot of doors for people and a lot of doors are going to be opening for me, but I have to then be mindful. The hermiting comes in handy so I can really cultivate or like keep my energy clean and my intuition really crisp and clean so that when misaligned opportunities come in, I don't jump on them thinking that all opportunities are equal. And some of our connections that you and I know personally are also have a strong 4 line and they're all in PR. They're all in PR.
Right.
Yeah. So kind of cool. But anyways, all right. Well, before we there's a lot we can talk about. And I hope you're all going to go to kellyoneil.com to see what Kelly's up to learn about her epic movement and also her epic event, plus all the other things. I'm in Kelly's up level community with her, which is a curated referral-based community. It's more than that. We kind of all mastermind together. We love each other up. We hype each other up. We're looking to just make life easier through relationship currency, essentially, right? Which is the big part of my business model, always has been. But part of this show is, there's a lot of assumptions about your first million is really hard to make. And so a lot of people struggle making it because the program is going to be hard. And that usually is people's experience, right? That it's hard. And we also think, oh, well, this person did it this way, so I have to do it this way. And yet we all do it in different ways. So when you made your first 7 figures along that journey before you actually hit that pinnacle on the mountain, on that particular mountain, because I know you've gone on to other mountains, but that first mountain, what was the biggest inner shift when you look back that you needed to make to just really allow it in?
I had to stop listening to other people. So when I got into, and this is part of what I now bring to the world. And I think I needed to have this, I needed to have this experience. There's 2 things, actually. I'll tell you a super personal one and I'll tell you the business one. So the business one is that, when I came from corporate America and my entire business model was based in very high ticket and it was a consulting model. And I came out of, in my first year, and by the way, you guys, now remember, I knew how to do what I did. I knew nothing about building a business, nothing, right? I knew how to market. So I was able to very quickly get to like $300,000 in my first year, like with ease. And then I started looking for ways, because in that point, like I was like, oh, this business thing is so fun. And I started looking for development and like ways to expand. And that's when I got into like, I started going to seminars. That was my kiss of death. Actually, I mean, it's not, right? Because everything is for us in our path, but like, that's where I got off track. And where I got off track was because everyone came in and they started providing me with this advice to do this mass marketing. And like, why are you even consulting? Like, you could be making money while you sleep, and you should be packaging this up into a product. And, and I remember I spent $40,000 on my first two products. I did a PR product and I did a branding product. And of course I did not make $40,000 back. You know what I mean? Like that didn't happen. Right. So when I started going off of what everyone else told me what to do and trying to follow these models, which I don't believe are for everyone. And in fact, actually, I mean, we could do a whole show, Jen, on the whole coaching industry and the absolute shit show that I believe it is. Like, we won't go there, but I do believe that there's a lot of really poor advice being provided to people that take them out of their actual, like the way they're meant to do business. And I think that that's the way that the industry is destroying businesses. Like, they're selling whatever worked for them, and that's not necessarily what works for other people. And I think that as a strategist, like one of the things that's made me so successful is that I have a bazillion different tools in my toolbox. Like, it's not one tool. And so when I'm providing strategy to someone, I'm looking at them, their audience, their gifts, the lifestyle they want, the way they prefer to work. How am I going to align their energy and this is really what Epic's about, right? It's like, how do you cross your genius, the thing that you're the best at, with your purpose in the world and the things that you really enjoy, to be the accelerator to create the experience that you want. And so the first thing was, I went off and did all of the things that never took into account my natural innate genius. And so I wasted so much money doing that. And so my first million was really hard because I didn't do it the way, like if I knew what I knew now, my first million would be easy, but it wasn't. My second thing, and this was a personal issue, and I'm very happy to share this kind of stuff because I think that this happens. I had money stuff. And the money stuff that I had, in summary, was I grew up in a very affluent environment. So I didn't initially have money stuff. I felt like, and still to this day feel like, making money is easy. Making money is easy. Like, that's not hard. What happened though was I had a contentious relationship with my father. And when my father did not want me to start my business, he thought that was the most insane thing in the world. Even though he was an entrepreneur, he thought it was the most insane thing in the world. Why would I leave like I was a executive before I was 30 in corporate America. And he's like, why would you leave a cushy job where you are at like the top of your industry at a super young age? Like, he's like, I don't even know how you got there, but whatever, you somehow lucked your way. I don't even tell you what he said. Like, it was very crass, but like somehow or another, you used your womanly arts to be able to get yourself into we don't speak. But you were able to get yourself into this executive position. And so what ended up happening was that first year, like, because he told me, he's like, you're going to get into business. You're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to lose your business. You're going to lose your house. And when you're broke and all of this falls apart, you're not coming home. Well, what he didn't realize about me is that part of my design also, like, and the name of my company actually is Hold My Latte. Like, oh, you don't think I can do it? Hold my latte, watch this. So like, I have this defiant gene in me. I was like, oh, you tell me I can't do something? Well, F you, watch this, right? Like, hold my latte. I got this. Like, I will get it done just to prove the point that I can get it done. So when I started in business in that first year, I came in with $300,000. I think that was more than he had made, or that he was making in his business. And the visceral reaction that I got from him was so bad that there was some trauma that occurred with that. And like, he accused me like of stealing and ripping people off. And he's like, how did you make this money? And he's like, I don't even understand. Like, how did you do this? And I was like, I just consulted with and you only have 2 clients. And how did you? I'm like, because I just have 2 clients and I have these high retainers and this is what I do. And it was so bad that I actually capped my own income because I was so afraid, because my relationship was already contentious and it caused a huge problem. And it became very, like, even more increasingly nasty to me after that I capped my income for a long time. And so I had to blow through that and be like, and part of that was he was my CPA and I switched and stopped going to him so that he wasn't involved in any of my money. But then I had to heal that money wound. So that was challenging for me. So yes, folks, like, cleaning up your money wounds, super important, because if you don't, you're going to have, that's going to be super challenging. And then number 2 is really like aligning with the way that you best operate in the world. Take the should out of your business building. If you don't like being on camera and someone's like, you need to be on video, like, this is the only way to do it, fuck them. Like, it's not the only way to do it. And that's not what you should be doing.
Yeah. And some people actually, although lovely people, right, they really have a pretty awkward camera presence such that it probably hurts their business. But yet if they did it through audio, they would be fine, as an example. And yes, that's a thing that can be learned, but some of us just aren't motivated to learn that, right? And so it's all good. I love that you shared this about your dad. I had a similar experience with my parents, and the only reason I share that is because I think really once we get to that, let's say 250K, 300K mark, we have more than we need, right? And then it becomes a capacity issue. It becomes about thriving in the surplus. And none of us need $1 million. We don't even really have needs anyways. We just have programming that tells us that we have more needs than we actually have. We actually don't want to admit out loud that we have desires, and we have desires that we want that money to fuel. But once we get to a certain level, and I went through this, and I know you went through it as well in your own way, you know, you can start to contract, or you can start to cap it, because what's the point of working this hard if I don't really need this much money? Look at how other people are responding to me. I'm not feeling safe and supported. If I have to choose between having more money or feeling safe and supported and packed up, I'm going to choose, self-preservation wise, we're going to choose being packed up with people. And that, I think that's one of the greatest things, right? Is learning how, shifting whatever needs to be shifted so that you can thrive in the surplus.
Yep. I think that that's super important. And doing the personal work, because I do believe, like, this is kind of my 4-step process: clarity, alignment, strategy, strategic execution. Always, in all ways. That's what it is. So it's like, what is it exactly that you want? What is it that your genius is? What is it that you want to create? How do you then energetically align to that, so that you are, which is what you are, one of the many things you are so brilliant at, is how do you get into alignment with what that is? Once you've got into that alignment of what that is, from that place, creating the efficiency, like the strategy. And that strategy is not just the roadmap. The strategy is, how do we make this as easy and fun as possible along the way? The strategy is not like, how many things can we throw into the mix to get it done? No, the strategy is, how many things can we get rid of and achieve the goal faster? That's the strategy, right? It's like, how can we put as little amount of effort in a way that feels so amazing to us, that helps us achieve the results in the easiest, fastest, most resourceful way? That's strategy, right? And then that strategic execution is, how do you then execute that strategy consistently and monitor and tweak it to be like, ooh, something's off, because you can't just set it and forget it, right? Like, oh, maybe that made something flare up and I need to personally clear something, or maybe the market has changed and I need to micro pivot that strategy, or maybe I've had a new level of clarity about something and I just need to micro pivot it. It's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's how do you micro pivot it then to increase that performance and optimize it.
Mm-hmm. That was very succinct.
I like to be succinct.
Well, I was trying to find the right word, but
I'm efficient.
Yeah.
Like that's what strategy is. Strategy doesn't need to be complex. It needs to be efficient.
Yeah. No, I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, Kelly, we could chat forever. I think we need to have you back and chat more about.
I would love to.
I mean, because you've got so many different things. You've got the branding, the marketing. You really know how to market to the affluent in particular. Mm-hmm. And I mean, so many other things in between, right? So maybe next time you'll have already, because I know how quick you are, you'll have already created your branded photo shoot offer. And I will be able to tell
I'm sure that will be done this week. Honestly, I am quick like a bunny.
I know you and I are both the same. People don't even, they're like, I didn't know you were up to that. Well, no, of course you didn't, because I woke up this morning. Right. I decided it was going to happen. Yeah. I made it happen today. And now I'm telling you that it happened, instead of the people that want to tell you for 9 years, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to do this thing. Oh. Yeah. So welcome to the life of a generator. Yes. All right. So people can find you at kellyoneal.com, and anywhere else, like where else are you most, like what social handles are the best for people to find you?
Guys, I am all over social media. I am either like, anytime you look at my name, so it's KELLYONEIL, 1L, not like the surf company. So you can find me online. And here's what I would recommend. Subscribe to my VIP list, because that's where you're going to we curate your content. We're going to be able to invite you to our various different Facebook groups. We'll get you in, that's where you're going to find all the things, right? When you get on our VIP list, then you'll find out where our podcast is. You'll see where my YouTube channel is. You'll figure out how to get in contact with us. I do a lot of really very cool things with, like CEO roundtables where we connect with people, because I'm so big on connection. I truly want, I don't need a list of 180,000 people. I want people that I actually know, that are my ideal clients, that I want to have a relationship with. I want to understand your business. I want to understand who I can connect you with. So I really do want to meet people personally. So just the best place to start is go to kellyoneal.com and jump on my VIP list, and everything else will iron itself out from there.
Awesome. All right. Well, Kelly, thank you for
having
energy
me
and your genius. Thanks to all of you for being here. We will see you again next time. Bye for now.